Good morning. It's Wake Up Patriots time. I'm Chris Cordani, filling in, at least at this point, for Tony Shaffer. Tony will be in soon. You don't have to see my ugly mug through the entire program. Well, I mean, I'll be here, but Tony Shaffer will be here too. This way you can look at and hear something much better than just me. But I do have one of my favorite guys here, the man behind Born to Ride for 45, and I guess 45 and 47, the great George Cullen. George,
thank you very much. Thanks for the introduction, Chris.
Great to have you here.
How's everything going?
What's
good in the news?
You know what? There's a lot in the news. We're going to talk about the annoying leftists who the left is environmentalists who are destroying electric vehicles.
That's amazing. That. Yeah,
that's
amazing.
Hilarious. I'm sorry. That's hilarious. I shouldn't be saying the other word, but anyway, that is hilarious, and it's just we'll get into some videos because there's a lot of Darwin selectivism when it comes to that too, like the idiot who torched himself.
We saw that one. I saw that one.
And every one of these morons seem to be so far behind on actual technology that they forget there are cameras all over these cars.
There's a total of 8. There's a total of 8 cameras on that car.
However, again, leftists make life fun because look, we keep them around for a few laughs. Otherwise, we just ignore them, right?
Correct. Yep. Especially Schumer. He's pretty good. And AOC and Burton. It's amazing. Or the famous saying we always say is it's rich people telling poor people that rich people are making them poor.
Yeah, exactly. Did you get to see Schumer on The View last week?
I mean, what he says and what he, they're threatening us. I tell you, it's unbelievable about this resist stuff that they're talking about.
Well, they're not resisting anything. Basically, they're defending. When they say they're resisting, they're not resisting a thing. They're defending the establishment. Yep. They're defending the status quo, and they're defending the corrupt politicians. So they're not resisting. We, my friends, patriots, George, we are the resistance. We resisted them, and they're throwing another collective hissy fit.
Yep. It's amazing how it's just, especially putting those cars on fire. It's worse for the environment with the material it has, and it takes so long for the fire department just to let them burn out.
Well, there you go. It's never, and you're right. It's never been about the environment. It hasn't been, and that's the whole thing. They try to be self-righteous and tell you we care about the environment. You heathens don't really care about saving energy or anything like that. Well, here is what they think of electric vehicles right now, because they don't like Orange Man. What do you think out there, Patriots? There's some lefties out there who are actually condemning any of this. I don't even see that. It seems like they're all laughing at it. And you watch those idiots like what was it, Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel laughing about it, giving the winks, and actually encouraging people subtly to go do this. These are the thought leaders.
Yeah, but it's amazing how the audience claps and laughs about it. That's the. They must either the people are stupid or they have those applause signs, and the people don't even realize what they're applauding to.
They're clapping monkeys. Yeah. It's probably a little bit of both, if all things considered. They do clap like monkeys for anything these idiots say. Let's see if I can find some of that here. I might as well pull it up. I know some of you heard it by now, but most of you, I'm pretty sure, avoid the likes of Jimmy Kimmel or Stephen Colbert, and we keep an eye on this stuff so you don't have to, I suppose. But let's get into that here. I'm going to pull something up here just so you can hear exactly what these people are trying to tell you. Again, they think they're funny, but they also know that their comedy is going to influence people to do things that they're cheering on. Let's check it out from this guy who was funny maybe about, 25 years ago.
On the market for a change. Our co-president, Elon Musk, sent a SpaceX vehicle to bring the astronauts back, and when they landed, he fired them immediately upon landing. Tesla stock is way down, almost disastrously so.
Which, by the way, it's gone up, but listen to these people cheer. People have been... George, before we move forward, I want you and the Patriots to know what these people are actually cheering. On the surface, the low-level thinker knows they're cheering the guy that's with the orange. They're cheering for destruction of the business owned by a guy who's with the Orange Man, or who works with the Orange Man.
Correct. Yeah.
What they really are cheering, though, is helping bring down the stock value of a business which a lot of pension funds invest in across the country. They're probably they could cause the loss of a lot of jobs and the destruction of property of their own neighbors, human beings who had nothing to do with anything, whether they agree with it or not. These are the things that leftists cheer for, George.
Yeah. What did he have? Waltz had what was it? $356 million invested in their 401k for all his workers in Minnesota.
That's right. Well, the Minnesota pension plan, and that's not the only one.
Oh no, there's plenty. I think the majority of I think the majority of all the left of all the governors of all the states, that's what they did. They invested the money in the Tesla because of the environment, and they must have been told by the left, the wonderful people of climate control about buying these cars and investing in them.
That's
but
right.
The cars made solid all in the United States, except for the batteries. But that's all made here. They're all made here because supposedly he was building a battery plant down in Texas, Musk.
It's true. And the fact is, if you're sitting here cheering for the destruction of this man's business, you're also cheering for the loss of, again, the assembly, these people in the assembly. They could lose their jobs over this. Dealerships are being burned down, which keeps the honest salesman or the mechanic who's trying to bring money home to their families. It hampers their work.
Yep.
And you see, they say they're for the little guy, but they're not. These people are for the billionaires.
That's right. We'll keep on going around to that saying it's rich people telling poor people that rich people are making them poor. They're all millionaires, every one of them. Especially, this is a little Crockett there. She owns 3 homes at $2.5 million each.
Oh, street Crockett. She's as privileged as those Karens you see that scream about dog walking.
What about the school she went to? What about she went to schools $30,000 a year? The parents sent her and they vote for her. It's amazing the people believe this stuff and how they're organizing, going these protests. Supposedly March 29th, there's supposed to be a big rally against all the Teslas. So we're going to find out what's here in Florida to see what's going on and around the United States. They came out with a list of all the locations that they're going to go protest. A lot of them were California, Vegas, New York, Jersey. But somebody posted a list. If I find it, I'll send it to you.
There's a website list doxing owners of Teslas.
Yes, I heard of that too. That's amazing. We know a few people that got swatted already with all the stuff that's going on.
And at this point, and I always joke around. I always say we keep them around for laughs. We need to disagree with each other to make a point. Right now, at this point forward, and I was hesitating upon this, but to me, these leftists say nothing. I can't hear them. Every time they talk, their lips will move, and all I hear from them is peep. That's it. That's all they say. All I watch is their lips move, and it's peep because they don't believe in anything they've ever believed in before. They're angry. They've lost it over Donald Trump's presidency. They've lost it over saving money. They lost it over not wasting taxpayers' money. Everything that a lot of things these people wanted in the past, Donald Trump is taking care of. But apparently nowadays, it's no good anymore.
And the funny thing is what Mr. Schumer said on fake news media about they purposely hired 235 progressive judges, and the judges are supposed to be nonpartisan, and they took an oath on the Constitution. Being progressive is not protecting the Constitution. And he admitted that,
Yep. And again, so we're talking destruction of property. Think about this. If you're sitting there burning down a Tesla dealership, that is worse than grand larceny. That could be attempted murder if there are people in there. Okay. Mm-hmm. If there are not people in there, who knows? Maybe there are. Maybe the night watchman's in there. Maybe there's somebody doing maintenance at night. Again, I would call that attempted murder. Destruction of property. This is not petty theft or petty is like under 10,000, I believe, in most states. One car is $50,000 to $100,000.
Yep. Especially the truck one. And look what Pam Bondi said. She said she's going to prosecute them to the fullest. They're going to get at least 20 years. That's what the best thing is, to have examples to them so they could cry and show that, because they don't have the judges. That's why I brought up about the thing about the judges, to see if they'll protect these domestic terrorists, I would call them, for destroying all the stuff and these car dealerships and stuff.
Right, and they are domestic terrorists. These are not the people who are picketing. Again, they picket. That's fine. It's your right as a citizen to do so. It's also our right to to flip you the New York State bird while we drive by. It's also our right to say you're a bunch of morons. That's fine. But when you start destroying property, you start keying cars. Again, keying a Tesla, that's a $50,000 to $100,000+ vehicle. You're defacing something that these people are jealous of the other people who have the Teslas. They're defacing something they can't afford themselves, and that's the other thing. If they don't earn money, and I'm sure most of these people don't even have anything, or don't. I'm not disparaging anybody who because I can't afford a Tesla. I'm not disparaging anybody of that. I'm talking about people who are just absolutely useless. People who don't bother contributing to society. They live in their mother's basements, or they don't bother working. They collect whatever, and they start destroying other people's property that they bought with their hard-earned money.
What about that guy that decided to put feces on the side of the car?
Ah, good. That sounds like a cue if ever I heard one. If anybody has not seen that yet, I would say the winner of the loser of the Darwin Award is this fool. And this guy doesn't. I'm sure he by now knows that there are cameras here, so he might have wanted to hide his face. But look at this guy. This is the epitome of every annoying leftist who defaces other people's property over the orange man. First off, this man looks like every stereotype of the lazy millennial leftist. Every single stereotype.
What an idiot.
Putting it into his own hands, by the way.
Yeah.
That's how disgusting they are. So wipe it on the Tesla. And of course, the camera's there. His face is easily seen. Now, I believe in prison, he's going to be passed around a little bit, but
Big Bubba.
Yep. In the media, though, the media will treat him as a hero.
Yeah. Well, they I don't know where they get their intelligence. They say that they're supposedly smarter. I can't believe the way they act and stuff like this. Well, look, I just had an example, right? When Ashley Babbitt got killed in the Capitol and all the stuff, the guys, all the J6s that went into prison and stuff. Did we riot? Did we burn buildings?
No.
Did we terrorize neighborhoods? Did we burn cars? We didn't do any of that stuff.
Did we throw Molotov?
Respect the law, yeah.
Cops?
Yeah.
No. And let's get back to what Kimmel said, because this is what they're doing right now. They're trying to be pithy and cutesy, but they're basically telling people to go out and do this.
Vandalizing Tesla vehicles, new Tesla vehicles. Please don't vandalize. Don't ever vandalize Tesla vehicles. And so
you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, he's telling you, oh, that's great. Just keep doing it. Colbert did the same thing.
Yeah, he had that man show, and that man show was unbelievable, especially in degrading women and stuff. And now he's
Well, I believe somebody has something so badly with him and Howard Stern at this point.
Yep, I agree 100%. And the CIA's got all that stuff.
Somebody has something. Well, I think it's the deep state and the woke types. Yeah. They're the ones that are heavily blackmailing these people.
He could be on Epstein's list. They know about that. They got a lot of stuff on people, and that's what Schumer even said at that time. You cross the CIA, they got information on people. It's unbelievable.
And another threat too, by the way. Yep. And he was. Did you see him on The View defending all the taxes, defending the IRS, and defending the machine? He's just shut up. I know you're with The View, and they'll cheer no matter what happens. But I'll tell you what. If anybody hasn't seen this yet, and I wanted to play this for when Tony got here, but Tony may be a little later than we thought. And Colonel Mills will be here. By the way, we're going to have Colonel John Mills. We're going to talk about what's going on in the Middle East with the Ukraine settlement here, possibly going on. But let's go to this here. Chuck Schumer was on The View recently last week, and here's part of his little rant.
And you know what their attitude is? I made my money all by myself. How dare your government take my money from me? I don't want to pay taxes. Or I built my company with my bare hands. How dare your government tell me how I should treat my customers, the land and water that I own, or my employees. They hate government. Government's a barrier to people, a barrier to stop them from doing things. They want to destroy it. We are not letting them do it, and we're united.
So they're not letting you stop the government from misusing your taxpayer money. Am I correct? Is that what Chuck Schumer is saying, George?
Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. I think the people should talk to the American Indian to see about trusting the government. What happened?
Yeah. I think people can talk to most any small businessman at this point.
It's just unbelievable, and they believe this. And how many people voted for? Well, we know that they cheated too. How many people voted for Harris and stuff? So
Yeah,
it's that's what I can't fathom. It drives me crazy that there's that many people out there that are morons.
right. And keep in mind, this mentality has been going on for a very, very long time.
Yep.
It was Barack Obama who said the quiet part out loud.
Right, correct. Yep. 100%.
You didn't build that. That's right. You didn't build that.
Yep. It's the colleges, what they're doing to these kids. And they're protecting a Hamas sympathizer. All the stuff. It's just and look what they did when President Trump spoke in front of Congress, right? They all had these signs, and then Congressman Green came out with the cane and started yelling at Trump. And the kid that was up that had the cancer and stuff that was being honored and everything comes out of Green's district, and they didn't have the courtesy of recognizing that kid.
These guys are all about themselves. That's the idea.
Yep.
They know that their cash cow is dying. They're getting decent salaries, and they get all sorts of perks. Let's not get us wrong. We're not sending them Doge audits, taking their slush funds away. It's not sending them to the poorhouse. It's keeping them from becoming mega rich. And that's why they are upset. Otherwise, they're making a good living. Well, let's go to some of the Patriots here. I like what Patton 7126. Pardon me, I'm a little nearsighted. Patton says, "Yep, we all hate the government who thinks they're better than Americans, and there are a lot of people who have that attitude. And people who vote, and this is where you come in, George. You said that there are a lot of people who voted for Kamala Harris. Well, Kamala Harris still symbolizes, and it's not about her. She's an idiot. I think a lot of people who voted for her believe she's an idiot, but it's what she symbolizes and what she represents. She represents the government's better than you. She represents the government takes care of you, and she represents the fact that the government knows what's best for us, or she represents the idea that the government knows what's better for us than we do."
Yep. But we'll go around in circles about her. It's unbelievable. I mean, the way they how about all the money she spent and everything else?
Well, again, that's the Act Blue and the slush funds. They're going to be investigated as well, because they're
going to get him. I think the best thing is they'll get him with the with that how they got Capone, and they got the mafia with the RICO Act. That's it. That's how they're going to get them all. Because they follow the money.
That's if the AG's department has the guts to do so. I like Pam Bondi so far, and I say give her time. I divert slightly from Dr. Corsi on this one, but I do say that we want to see action from the Attorney General's office. And it's not on her mainly. It's because we didn't see such actions from the Attorney General's office the first time Trump was president.
Yep. Well, that was a big setup because that kid Whitaker was very good to become, but they said the Senate wasn't going to pass him. And they picked out Barr. All the Senate, all the rhinos picked out Barr because they can't have too many people agree with Trump, and that's why Trump did what he did with picking out his own people for his. The stories out there that I know.
Well,
it's amazing, and Tony know too.
As we all know, George, nobody on the left likes anybody whose name is Whitaker. Angels Unawares said she went to a Kid Rock opening night concert. That must be fun. I liked Kid Rock when I was younger. He was great. He was a novelty, a white rock rapper. He was very good. He actually did a really cool one day rendition. I don't know if it was on MTV or some other awards ceremony. He Run DMC and Aerosmith all did a trio version of Walk This Way. Well, that name escaped me. That's a great song altogether. But when they all did it, that was pretty cool. I note though, Angels, you went to see Kid Rock. I kind of doubt you went to see Snow White. How about you, George?
Yeah, they failed on that one too. They failed on that one. It's just unbelievable. They can't. It's just amazing that they don't understand that people do not accept. I mean, Snow White was supposed to be Snow White because that's how the story was created, not putting stuff to make it convenient and to benefit like only 1% of the country's population, and that's what they think they're feeding. And it's the majority of the people that go see these movies that have common sense that go, and people don't want to spend the money. You don't want to bring the kids into that. And they had a lot of woke stuff in it. Supposedly the movie had woke stuff in it and what do you call DEI stuff in it. And they had also they said something about sympathizing with Palestinians and stuff.
Well, here's something. I'm going to give an opinion that's a little less popular than it might be with the Patriots, or maybe a little bit more. When I watched Wild Wild West, the movie with Will Smith, again, there was a racial swap, but it was more like they wanted to showcase Will Smith as an actor, putting him in a position where there was an old TV show. They want to make him the main character. And I get that. That's fine, because sometimes you want to take an actor who happens to be a different race, and you do that. You didn't have to mix bag Charlie's Angels during the movie. I thought that was a little too far in a way, and only because you see what it's deliberate. On the one hand, when you want to showcase a fine actor or actress or somebody who is funny, and you put them in a role that might not traditionally be his or hers, that might be cool. But to force it and overdo it, like they did with Snow White, and Disney does a lot, they kind of shove the wokeness down people's throat. And they figure, well, the Black Little Mermaid isn't far enough. Well, that's fine. You know what? The kid can sing. I'm going to go with it. I'm not in love with the controversy, but the kid can sing. When it comes to Snow White, this woman was the character originally is her skin was supposed to be white as snow. Rachel Ziegler does not do that. But what made things worse, and people I think could have looked past that, what made things worse is she acted. She was rude to people. She blamed white people for not criticizing the idea, and she criticized the very idea of Snow White and Prince Charming, calling the prince a stalker and saying weird. I'll pull up some of these old things when Tony comes. Oh, Tony's here. As a matter of fact,
I'm
Tony,
here. Good morning.
Fresh from the
Tony,
red carpet screening of
Fresh
Snow
from
White.
Chris Salcedo. I know I've got that Latin American cologne on me from talking to Chris. I smell like Ricardo Montalban with rich Corinthian leather.
No, we know you were really at the opening of Snow White.
So stop. I got to correct you both. I don't know if you knew this. I got some breaking news. Did you know that she got the nickname Snow White from being Zelensky's drug dealer? Did you know that? I didn't know if you knew that or not.
Hey,
that's how she got it.
That's
how she got the name.
This is a special. This is an Ed Kranepool special. If anybody's a Met fan, comes in, pinch hits, and hits a home run right there. First ball he sees hits a home run. Awesome, Tony. That's another heyo for you.
Heyo. Well, no, I heard you guys talking about this. I mean, this is Marxism on a stick. Man, oh man, this is bad. So, Chris, keep going. I don't want to interfere. Thank you. Keep going. So,
no, I'm good. Here's the thing, George Tony. I just want to get you on this one first. Rachel Ziegler not only was mouthing off about Prince Charming, but she kept pushing her woke garbage in front of everybody, and this whole pro-Palestinian stuff and pro-Hamas garbage she's pulling off in the news media while Disney's trying to push this woke garbage. They still have a line, by the way, and I believe that was it. She pulled a Brie Larson. The movie company Disney tried to force us to love Captain Marvel and keep Captain Marvel in the Marvel as a main character, but Brie Larson was as obnoxious as hell, and so is Rachel Ziegler. Thoughts on that, gentlemen? We should have
Doomcock come on and talk about this sometime. But yeah,
I would like that. He would be awesome.
Yeah.
But think about that. You can only make things worse by speaking. Want to hear some of the garbage she said?
Let's go through it. Weird.
Yeah, I mean, Snow White is the girl you remember, but she's definitely made for the modern age. And there's such an emphasis on what it really means to be the fairest of them all. And for Snow White, it's coming to terms with finding herself and finding her inner voice and finding a sense of agency so that she can be a just ruler and a wonderful queen, because there's another one in town.
Yeah, she could be the next Elizabeth Bathory. Thanks a lot, Rachel Ziegler. I got another one. We can go back in time. You remember this gem from Back in Time?
Yeah.
Oh, the weird gem. Let's get that going here. 1, 2, 3.
I love weird.
We're talking about 1937, and very evidently
There we go.
so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird. We have
There you go. Weird.
a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story, just because like we cast a guy in the movie, right. Andrew Burnap, great dude. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
It's Hollywood, baby.
So she's unlikable, and everybody's rooting for the evil witch in this one. Everybody loves Gal Gadot and hates her. It's like, and by the way, I'm not joking. I've been watching the reviews over the weekend because I figured we were talking about this, and I was correct. Basically, the plot is kind of woke light because they added the CGI dwarves in for no real purpose other than to be slaves of Snow White, which really is a departure from the original. And then she's basically a rebel princess. So it's kind of like Star Wars meets Dr. Fauci. Like imagine Dr. Fauci times 7.
The 7.
It's like Dr. Fauci and the 7 dwarves, and they're kind of like, they're very like nasty, like Fauci. They're like Fauci-like, it's like, Arr. Anyway, so she then has to go meet with the rebels in the woods, who are those unemployed Starbucks employees who live in the woods. They're revolutionaries. I'm joking. I'm telling you the truth about the movie, so you don't have to go see it. And so you got the 7 Starbucks fired employees in the woods who are revolutionaries, and they want to go after apple pie. And I wish I was making this up, but I'm not. They basically have an apple pie revolution because the people want apple pie. And so that's what drives Snow White to go after the evil evil queen, who then, like says, we're giving people food, but you don't give them sweetness. Anyway, so it's all about apple pie. And then in the end, everybody dresses up like a gay Karl Marx and dances around in white. And that's it. That's the movie. I told you the whole movie in 2 minutes.
Well,
and I'm not joking about any of this. You guys, I mean, it's our job to be funny, but I'm not having to make anything up of what I just said. Just saying. It's like,
and you bring up 2 very important parts of this movie, very important things about this movie, right? The Gal Gadot, the evil witch, was hotter than Snow White, which is a total reversal. You might as well just left it at that. She was much hotter than Snow White could ever be. That's number 1. Number 2, Peter Dinklage, and I believe this guy deserves a lot of slamming because he whined and cried about the 7 dwarves. And why you have little people and dwarves? It's an ancient story. It's an old story, not ancient. Very old story. And the fact is, you, Dinklage, you just lost 7 little people actors their jobs because you had to cry and whine about
That's right. Trixie just said midget tossing. Well, they got tossed off the set.
Yeah,
that's right.
What happened.
That's right. Well, let's toss somebody on the set, though. We have one of our favorite guests, the great and honorable Colonel John Mills.
Good morning, John.
Oh, different background today.
Good morning, Colonel. How are you?
Chris.
Hey, dressed for the occasion. I forgot my suit in my car.
Yes,
So-
and by the way, Colonel Mills, your volume's a little low, so let's see if we can pull that up a little bit.
I could take the whole thing off in 2 seconds here.
There we go. All right, he's pulling that up there. So
Is it like the Naked Gun to the Velcro suit with Leslie Nielsen when he pulls the suit off and
That's back to me.
I'm gonna try to.
I want you to know I practice safe sex. So do I. Those are the days you can make good movies. Chris, we still have to do that movie with the show with Bob Hayes. I talk about all this stuff. So
Yeah, I would like.
So good morning, John. We're talking about Marxism on a stick, also known as the new Snow White. But we'll it is weird. So it's we're not going to see me pulling clothes off Debbie. Thank you. Just saying.
Oh boy,
this is not that kind of show. Our evil overlord is always upset with me. That would really get him upset with me. It's like, man, it's like there's degrees of anger with, yeah, it's like, man, oh man, I wouldn't make it to the end of the show if we did that. Just saying. So,
well,
all right. So, John,
Disney's a holdout on the DEI front. Most companies, even BlackRock, have abandoned.
Yep.
But Disney, Costco. Now, Costco share price keeps going up. Disney share price. I mean, sooner or later, they're going to have to face this catastrophe.
Well, John, Costco is offering a deal for three midgets for the price of one right now. It's to take up for the dwarf issue. So, if you ever wanted a midget, now's the time to go buy one at Costco. It's a great deal. So, but I digress. One of the things that is we recognize, John, I want to hit before we go to Ukraine. We're not going to Ukraine, but you know what I mean. Is the issue of how much money Disney's going to lose. I mean, we were talking about in the chat. I think they're saying the cost before promotion was $350 million, and they had to do multiple reshoots because our friend Doomcock, the future ruler of Earth, great guy, shout out Doomcock, who basically has great spies in Disney, said this was a woke disaster. He actually put out information about the 7 Starbucks unemployed employees that were going to be the dwarves, the 7 people of marginal intelligence who were supposed to take the place of the dwarves. That got out. No. We're going to have dwarves, but they made them the CGI abominations. And I don't know. I'm not going to watch the movie, but you can go out there and see these things. These things look like literally Anthony Fauci could not have designed more hideous small people, him being one. It's like
only made $45 million on it.
Yeah, they made. That's not my point. Is like they were the biggest movie over the weekend, but it cost 250. They got 25. John, how long do you think Disney can continue to take these hits regarding these big budget flops? And this is not the first one. Chris brought up the Marvels. Mulan failed. Well, how long do you think these big corporations can continue to produce stuff that nobody wants to see?
Well, money talks, and eventually people are chosen to be on boards and CEOs because of share price and things like that. And sooner or later, even the stupidest and most ideological, they're not financially illiterate. They understand the numbers. I don't know how Disney has gone so far. We just for full transparency, we own Disney stock. A lot of people say, I wouldn't own Disney stock. Well, no. Do you want to be part of change, or you just? Yeah. I think it's a stupid idea. I think you should be involved, and so you have I was just reading a Boeing, some Boeing issues here for an upcoming vote, and you can put in great, even as a small shareholder, you can advance some very important initiatives inside of a company. So get involved. Don't sit on the sidelines. Yeah. But with Disney, I just don't see how they can continue to do this. I mean, they had a magic formula with the original Mandalorian, and then they decided to turn it into Crazy Town, and that was Kennedy, the producer. She has just made this Wokeville, and it gets worse and worse. And they sooner or later either they'll get it, or the company will just disintegrate and disappear. A tragedy for such from the beginning, some people have conspiracy theories about Disney, and Walt and this and that. I mean, I think it's essentially a company that had some good values, and hey, it was part of America. Let's get it right, and let's get people out of there, and everybody should do their best to influence what's going on.
I agree 100%. It's the parents.
So,
the parents.
John, on that point, yeah, I agree. But John, is you should know this as a shareholder. Then I'm glad you told me that, because I actually have some information you need to know. And I'm not joking. I was one of the creators and producers of a series called Chain of Command by Nat Geo. To speak the lingo, it earned out 20% above forecast, which made it a successful series. Anytime a series earns out of its investment, basically when you earn out, that means you got more money than you expected, and makes it a successful investment for a season 2. We, the team, Nat Geo Studios, which I was a producer in, advising producer, we were greenlit for season 2. This is back in 2019, and Disney bought Nat Geo. Do you know? You want to know what happened to the series?
No, Tony.
You know what happened to the series? It was canceled because it was too pro-Trump. And Trump appears. No, I'm not joking. I was on an Excel going to New York for meetings, and because I had it in my Twitter, then Twitter bio, and you guys can Google this. This is I'll bring it up. I'll put it in the chat here in a second. Nat Geo chain of command. I'm one of the I'm credited as a assistant co-producer. I don't know. I mean, I was one of the creators. I was part of the creative team. Basically, our task, Joe Dunford, Chairman Dunford, is a friend of mine, and he said, "Look, I can't get credit for what the Pentagon's doing." This is back under Obama. This is in 2015. It's like, fine. Let me bring in Nat Geo. We'll have a conversation. And Courtney Monroe, the CEO of Nat Geo, Productions, met with Joe Dunford, and it was great. They figured out how to do a Reese's cup. Everybody benefits. It takes us time to produce a series. Hits the air in 2018. It's a hit, and then because Disney were so woke, they wanted nothing that portrayed the military or Trump in a positive light. So this product, Chain of Command, who earned out 20% above, was greenlit for a second season, was just canceled, and all of us associated were fired. So there you go. You can put that in your corporate bonnet and smoke it, because that's how stupid these people are. Just saying. So
I think the great example of this, and I've had Craig Salman Sawyer on the show several times. It was Top Shot.
Craig's a great guy. Yeah, Salman, we're friends.
It was a great show on the History Channel. Excellent show.
Yeah.
Everything was, and they did a 6th season. Was it a 5th? So they did one more season, but this was when you realize, hold it, it was a successful model. It was working. And they still canceled it. Why? Because it didn't fit the woke narrative. And so
exactly,
we've got to assert ourselves. That's why everybody, I wouldn't get anything from Disney. Blah, 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 blah. Guys, that's not how you win wars here. That's not how you win wars.
Well, look, that's what Musk did with the Twitter. He took it over and fixed it, right? So you got to do the same with Disney. You can't sit back and say, "Oh, it's all is lost." So I agree. But speaking of all is lost, which is really lost, and I mentioned, John, I don't know if you caught it. The movie Snow White, the name Snow White actually comes from the fact that Rachel Ziegler is the drug dealer for Zelensky. Did you know that? I'm circling the square here to put together. So not that Zelensky's on drugs. We're not saying he's big in Japan, right, Chris?
No. We're not saying that he wants to play first base for the Mets, but got a little disappointed when he found out what the line was made of. No, we're not made of. No, we're not saying that either.
So, but I do want to talk, John, about the dueling narratives right now, because Steve Wyckoff is saying, "Look, we're making." There he is. He just got done pumping, I think, 5 pounds of donuts right there. He's got like kind of all bulky. It takes a lot to lift those Krispy Kreme donuts, especially boxes. So, but anyway, John, what I want to talk to you about is the direction of Ukraine and the ceasefire, because as we speak, Steve Wyckoff is saying, look, we're about to expand, we're about to get to the root causes. In an interview he did with Tucker Carlson, Chris, I don't know if you have the interview, but Wyckoff says some things which we knew to be true, that the origins of the conflict go back past 2014. It goes back to the expansion of NATO, the Russian paranoia. I know that people have a hard time understanding it, but I always like reviewing the list of invadees to remind people why the Russians are paranoid. Mongolia, 1223, Teutonic, Germans, 1240, Ottomans, 1570, Poland, 1609, Sweden, 1708, French, and another short guy, Napoleon Bonaparte. I guess he was kind of Fauci's great-great-grandfather. French, 1812, Ottoman, French, British, Crimea, 1853, Japan, 1905, Germany, 1914, Allied intervention, that's us, 1918, Japan, 2, 1918, Germany, 2, 1940, with another short guy named Adolf Hitler, and Ukraine with the incursion into Kursk in 2024. So the Russians are paranoid. You have to accept it because they have a history that has reinforced their perception of being a victim. It is what it is. I'm not pro-Russian. I'm stating history. But Wyckoff goes through some of the root causes. You want to hit that, Chris?
And Ukraine. It's a complicated conflict. They've been at each other since World War II. There's a sensibility in Russia that Ukraine is a false country,
right?
That they just patch together in this sort of mosaic, these regions, and that's the root cause, in my opinion, of this war. That Russia regards those 5 regions as rightfully theirs since World War II, and that's something that nobody wants to talk about. Well, I say it out loud. How are we going to solve this thing unless we solve the central issue that underpins the conflict?
That Khrushchev kind of just made those part of Ukraine.
Correct.
Yeah. I think Khrushchev was Ukrainian. Amazing.
Well, there's a part of history I'm surprised they didn't mention was, you remember Ukraine was during the Bolshevik Revolution, Ukraine was the one that survived until about 21, 22. Those were the term was White Russians. And that's always stuck in the craw of the Soviets was that episode.
No doubt.
The Ukrainians were the holdout. Now during the Second World War, when Mr. Hitler's armies first showed up, they were hailed as hey, hooray, we're being liberated. It didn't work out very well either way in any direction. But there is complexity here. I think another thing we really need to have truth on, and I see Steve has really gotten very involved in this matter. Is the I always call it that it's the 2005 Nunn-Lugar update on essentially not denuclearization, but the non-proliferation and controlling former Soviet stocks of weapons of mass destruction. That was started in 92. Not a bad idea, not necessarily a bad or illogical idea, but it grew and expanded. In 2005, there was this update where we created this biolab international structure. And it's like, we need truth on, if these were CIA bases, we just should have called them a CIA base. I mean, we couldn't have come up with a worse cover than a biolab. Well, that sounds like 100 times worse than CIA spy base. And this literally was in the law was this worldwide constellation of biolabs. I think we need truth on this matter, and we need, even back during the Bush years, there was a lot of poking and prodding from Ukraine. At the same time, I am totally. People get very emotional about this. They're, pro-Russian, they're pro-Ukrainian, and if you aren't this, you're that. No. I'm America first. I look at this as an absolute issue.
Yeah.
And
so, and I think George agrees and Chris agrees. And George, from the layman's perspective, I mean, don't you think it's worse when you have people who are just stupid, like Victoria Nuland, who basically they want to hide things, but they pick something that's more, it's like more dramatic and alerting than what they're doing. I mean, don't you think picking a biolab as a cover is a bad idea? What do you think, George?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Take your eye off the ball, as they say. I mean, Ukraine had plenty of labs there in that, in the country and everything else. And Russia knew about it. And what I heard, what was great, that President Trump and Putin did a big agreement about agreeing that Iran should not have nuclear weapons, which I think that was...
We'll talk about that.
Yeah. I think that was...
So
I think that was
I'm glad you opened that door. Yeah, so this is another thing, George brought that up, and I was about to open that door myself. So in February of 2026, the START treaty with Russia ends. That's a big deal. People don't understand that starting in the early 90s, the START treaties, first it was the INF. I was part of the INF, the Intermediate Force Nuclear Weapons Treaty. They got rid of mid-range nuclear missiles, went into START. We're coming up on some pretty big, important junctures regarding nuclear weapons. So one of the issues that I think we'll agree to start talking with Russia on is nuclear weapons again, restrictions, but more importantly, to George's point, Iran. I don't know how you feel about it, George, but I believe the Iranians probably have one or two nuclear weapons. I think the North Koreans gave them one or two. It's bad, but not enough you're going to go to war with. I think they gave it to them as like betas. Here, you can look at these, figure out for yourself how to build your own. I think that's what they did. But with that said, one of the framework items that we have agreed upon in the United States with Russia is that we're going to make sure that quote unquote Iran can never destroy the Israelis. So what do you make of that, and where do you think that's going to go, John?
Well, you got to look at everything. The real showdown is between China and the United States.
Yeah, Russia, I don't disagree.
Everybody is a colony of China. So Russia is a colony of China. Iran is a colony of China. North Korea, Venezuela, they're all colonies of China. The grand strategy here of the Trump administration is kind of a reverse Nixon-Kissinger strategy, is to peel Russia away from China, whereas in 72 we were peeling China away from the Soviet Union. Okay,
it was called playing the China card back in 72, right? Exactly.
Yeah, so it's a reverse. Now, will it work? Again, did it work with China? No, in the end, we essentially enabled the creation of a monster. Okay, so it's not illogical in any way, shape, or form. Very wise maneuver. Now, does China agree with this or want this? No, they're probably they're probably beginning to get a little concerned. Russia, who has an economy 1/20th, that's 1/20 of China's. Everybody's saying, oh, Russia's so powerful. Russia would not exist at this point in time if it wasn't for the aid and also the purchases of gas and oil from China. China's the master in all this. Now, Putin, he's a KGB thug, but he's smart enough to know when China looks at Russia, they only think about one thing long term. That's lunch. Okay?
Exactly. Exactly.
Beautifully. That's greatly put that way. I think Biden should get the Nobel Peace Prize because he put peace between China, Russia, Korea, Iran. I think he should get that. That's how bad it was.
So, George, did you hear that he's coming back? He's upset with the Democrat Party, and they're going to bring him out of his mausoleum and fill him up with that juice and kind of juice him up, and it'll be weekend at Biden's too. The return of Khan. So yeah, it'll be.
Who's going to hold him up on each side?
Anyway,
that's right. On one side and Newland on the other.
That's right. So, well, but to that point though, there's one big factor that we're trying to play besides Russia, and that is India. So India is the natural competitor to China, both economically as well as politically, because they are a democracy. They have decided recently, John, to limit their BRICS activities and kind of start returning to the West because of, Trump being in charge. Do you think that's going to be a major factor as we go forward regarding India coming back into our camp?
Is naturally, just like the Philippines, it's a natural fit for America.
Yeah.
They're natural. But what I noticed, I for several years in a row during the Obama years, I would give an annual list of priority countries for building the cyber relationship. Every year, India was put below the cut line after I put India above the cut line. The Obama folks hated India. And now,
Yeah.
India, I think there's a lot of opportunities. Now, do they have an issue with oppression of Christian minorities? Yes, and others, and Islamic, of course. There are issues with the Hindu leadership, and that's something we got to hold them accountable for. But at the same time, we need to move forward on a relationship with India. We're natural trading partners. Now I don't want to stoke the H-1B. We've totally abused the H-1B visa program to get Indians in as coders at essentially about 60% of the cost of an American. We can't allow that anymore. That's wrong. Okay, but all these things being said, India is a natural a friend and business partner for America. So. We got to, the Obama folks, they detested the Indians. And literally every year I would put in a list. Every year India was moved below the cut line. It's like, what, why, what? I don't get it.
You think I might be crazy, but maybe because of their color and stuff against the Obama. I think he felt threatened by that with the knowledge that they had. Yeah.
BRICS wasn't stable in the first
I think
place.
so.
BRICS wasn't stable in the first place. It's not just India. I believe there's Brazil is looking towards pulling back from de-dollarization. It's the R and the C that are involved that want to run the whole show. And these other nations that besides Russia and China, these other nations just want to find a way to stay afloat. The dollar wasn't going to cut it during the Biden era. So now, there's going to be a very interesting rift between the R and the C and some of these other nations when it comes to BRICS at this point and the de-dollarization movement. But India's coming back.
No, and that's why it's important that China came back. Absolutely.
Yep.
No, I think Trump understands the power of the dollar. Russia understands the power of the dollar.
Right. Correct.
To John, I think that's where I think we would all agree. Reestablishing power behind the dollar is one of our greatest defense assets. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because that's the game. There's not a formal vote on what is the world reserve currency. It's just kind of,
it's a practical thing. It's a practical thing. It works.
An impression of which is the best currency for the future. And it's a vote of confidence.
Right.
Now, are people going to vote in the Chinese renminbi or yuan? Of course not at this point in time. But we have to be vigilant because the Biden-Obama folks were illiterate on this topic. And just like giving away the internet to ICANN, say, hey, we created the internet. You guys take it. Giving away the Panama Canal. We created it. You guys take it. They were just, hey, reserve currency. Hey, why don't you guys be the reserve currency for a while? I mean, when you have to.
Yeah, they had no concept.
You walk into the store and you call the shots. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
So do you want to be the reserve currency or do you want to be one of the rabble who's trying to negotiate something better here? No, you want to be the reserve currency.
World currency
don't forget
DEI.
about South Africa. That's one of the colonies. They've decided they love being a colony. This time they want to be a colony to China.
I think President Trump said
look, I remember.
I'm sorry.
I remember when we. Go ahead, George.
I'm sorry. What I think President Trump brought up very important about saying about the golden age, and I think he threatened those other countries that if you want to trade with us, you're going to have to trade with us in gold. If the dollar was threatened.
Well, I don't know about gold. I think he's going to use U.S. dollars, but
I know.
think that's where it's going to go.
Backup,
Yeah, and then of course, look to John's point. I remember when we destabilized South Africa. I remember briefings on that in the 90s. So I think we need to be honest because we've come out and now we understand what USAID really did. It wasn't about development. It was about undermining governance that we disagreed with. So that's something we have to be honest about. There's some other things we have to go through. But more importantly, before we get off the topic of India, John, do you think, I know for a fact that there are certain curries, like chicken curry, certain curries are so dangerously hot. If you eat them, you'll have burning going through your digestive system 100% all the way through. Do you think we should ban that? Is that dangerous? Because I mean that could really upset the digestive tract of millions of Americans.
Regardless of restaurant type, I'm not into heavy spices, so I always ask, the volcanic spices there.
I've had curry that's volcanic, and it is painful. Just saying, I not that I encourage pain. So, but back to the topic though. So as George points out, I think gold. By the way, whatever happened to Fort Knox? I never heard what they found at Fort Knox. We should go back and find out because they were all happy to go check it. They found what? What did they find?
Eggs, trays of eggs.
Yeah. So, and by the way, speaking of South Africa, John, do you think Hunter Biden is our best asset to send to South Africa?
Well, he's trouble. I didn't even know he had a security clearance or a security detail. I mean, I don't understand that. We're
I do.
People with security details that are legally not required. I actually pulled up did a quick summary of the legal basis for post. I was asked to do a little analysis. There's very little legal basis. I mean, there is in Department of Defense. There is an official protocol. It should not be based on rank and form or position. It should be based on the actual threat. And that was a huge IG finding.
Exactly.
They were just giving away security details like candy. Right. Hey, you were a three-star. You get a security detail, and you get a security detail, and you get a. Milley was getting a security detail to go between J.P. Morgan Chase meetings. What in the world? No,
that's insane.
So anyway, you got me going on that. What in the world is Hunter Biden traveling with a security detail to South Africa? If he wants to go to South Africa, go for it.
Yeah.
But, no taxpayer-funded security detail.
Yeah. What are they afraid? What are they afraid of?
Well, he did.
What are they afraid of? They're afraid they're going to steal Hunter's artwork, or they're going to steal his stash, or another laptop hard drive, or something like that. Is that what they're afraid of?
Steal his cheese. Steal his cheese.
It's a high crime area. It's
I was at a restaurant in Norfolk. No, I was at just a little personal story. I was at a Norfolk restaurant having lasagna at this really nice place downtown, and the girl came up and says, "Would you like some Parmesan?" I said, "Oh, that's good. That's Hunter Biden grade cheese," and she started laughing. That was great, and she got it. She got the joke. Anyway, everybody gets the joke. Anyway, but John, back to our friend Mark Milley. So you know Mark, I know Mark. We weren't friends. Like Joe Dunford and I are friends. Mark and I, I was his guy on the transition team back in 2016 to 2017. And I'll never forget, and I should have put it in context. It didn't really ring a bell at the time. Our first meeting, he lectured me on the world order, the agreed upon order after World War II. So basically, he was trying to tell me, hey, when Trump comes in, don't upset the order of things. That's what the message was. And I was just like, yeah, I don't care. I didn't. It's like, okay, Mark, whatever. And obviously we are already at bad odds because of the Bergdahl issue, but we don't have time to go through that today. You guys, I think now know it's been publicly disclosed. I ran an off the books op to get Bergdahl back, dealing with a different. But anyway, past that, back to Mark. Mark lectured me on the importance of the agreed upon world order after World War II. Now, Mark didn't adapt. Joe Dunford understood what he had to do. I'm told that Joe Dunford is probably President Trump's full favorite general because Dunford was blunt. He just told him what to expect, what would happen. Milley wasn't like that. So do you think Milley purposely would refuse to actually accept guidance from the president the entire time? And do you think something should be done about it now after he's retired regarding, I don't know, an investigation of his activities?
Oh, absolutely. I think everything is on the table for recalling former officials. If they're military, recalling them active duty. If they were civilian, charging them under false statements as a federal official, 18 U.S. Code 1001. We got so many examples of this. We need to make, but just by Milley saying those things to you, it shows this religion of the world order. Okay, that was 80 years ago. Please show
Bingo.
me the memo.
Bingo. Absolutely.
Please show me the memo that shows where everybody signed off, all the world leaders signed off, agreeing to this illusionary world order. It's a new era. Okay, you got to up your game. They're living in the past. This is UK managed decline, mad cow disease. You know, we're just gonna sit back and we're gonna let those poor pathetic countries try to develop as we give them guidance. And it's just no. The world is always evolving. One of the few places I'll use the word evolving. And you know, it's come on. Get real and stay with the program here, man. You're not. We just can't live on our laurels and rest on our laurels. That was 80 years ago. Most of these countries,
or in the case of Mark Milley, sit on his fat spreading ass, which got bigger apparently from his 5-course meals at the Pentagon Executive Dining Room.
Well,
but let's not talk about that.
He flies to Davos immediately after leaving government as the AI expert for J.P. Morgan Chase and others. Well, you know, I guess if you can spell AI, you're an AI expert. I mean, the guy can't even program his own VCR, and he's suddenly an AI expert. Yeah, whatever.
What about when he said about the warning that he was going to warn China about what if Trump was going to do the attack that time?
Oh, I remember that. Yes.
Remember when he said that? When he made that statement?
Yeah.
I mean, that appears to be.
Yeah, he did. He confirmed it in a hearing. Yeah.
Near treason, I suppose. But again, another story for another day.
So, well, we got to go. We got it. We're going over time. But one last question I got to ask you regarding Mark. How does he walk in high heels with that amount of weight, John? I don't understand the physics. Is there a formula? Is there a formula of like, and plus, wouldn't he damage carpet and stuff with that weight going on those little? I mean, those are pretty small. I don't understand these things. That's why I ask.
Yeah, I just hope he's. Look, I think this is a valid issue with the auto pen. I've talked to Steve Bucci, who was Rumsfeld's military assistant. We ran a lot of documents for Rumsfeld.
I know Steve, a great guy. I know Steve. Yeah.
And the auto penning is for routine and mundane things. Yes. For important stuff, no. There was a very strict protocol.
Yeah.
I think
makes sense.
This is a very serious matter. This is not. There's nothing funny about this. This is not a joke. I think anything that was auto pen during the Biden era is legally challengeable. That includes all these pardons.
I agree.
All these executive orders. So I think President Trump is spot on. Everything should be thrown out. We now know we had a committee running the country. All those pardons are invalid.
Right? Yeah.
Well,
who's to say?
What about the time? Isn't the auto pen?
Speaking of things which are signed by Rumsfeld, Rumsfeld personally signed all the snowflakes. Just saying.
well, think about this. Who's to say?
No, I'm not joking.
But who's to say it wasn't one of those snot-nosed kids that James Carville was talking about that keeps advising Biden and Harris, who was managing the auto pen at the time? Who's to say it wasn't the likes or somebody close enough to those?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
We had a committee running the country with a 25th Amendment figurehead.
Right.
You bet every one of those auto pens. This is not a joke. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a serious legal matter and issue. So anything that was auto pen, invalid.
Yeah, because it's time and stamp, right? Isn't there a time when they use the auto pen and the date that they use it at, and to see if he was present at the time? Don't they have that?
All these matters. Yeah. I mean, geez, do it.
Well, I'm gonna
AI enable search of when his daily schedule with the date stamp of the auto pen. If he was officially off duty per the White House daily schedule and it was signed after that,
It's invalid.
Invalid.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, by the way, Chris, we need to reach out to Bob Gouveia and try to get Bob on to talk about the legal issues on this too. So I'll reach out to him.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely.
So anyway, John, thank you. The people in chat have been talking how much they appreciate you. We appreciate you. Thank you for being here. You always have this very lucid, very clear, clean-cut perspective, something I lack. Yeah, it's okay. You make up for my lacking. It's great. It's great. It's a good combination.
Yeah.
So thanks for being here. George, always a pleasure to have you aboard.
Great seeing you again, John. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to have you back on. You know, we love having you on. The team loves you. Obviously, they always, so we'll be back again tomorrow. See, the show goes so fast. See, we get going on a topic. We could be talking about Mark Milley high heels, about Hunter Biden cheese, not the toe cheese, the other cheese. Just saying. We could go through all that, but we can't because we're out of time. I know.
Snow Anthony.
So yeah, and we could talk about more about Snow White and Zelensky. There's a connection there, but maybe
we'll have to get Mike back.
Maybe I don't know.
Can you see that patch?
Yeah.
Oh yes, we'll pull it up on the big screen here. There we go.
Oh, very good.
That's right. That's right.
Nice.
Yeah. So we push the envelope as much as we push the envelope as much as we can without the evil overlord. Good morning, Ed. Getting too upset with us. So anyway, we're gonna go. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you tomorrow morning for another great show. Until then, have a great day. It's sunny out. Go enjoy the day. Go and do something good. Right. We'll see you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.